Did you know there is a sea that is considered the most radioactive in the world? At first glance, it appears completely clean and transparent, but hidden beneath its surface lies a danger invisible to the naked eye. In 2001, the international environmental organization Greenpeace made a shocking statement: the Irish Sea is the most polluted sea in terms of radioactive contamination. But where did this danger come from, and why is this sea in such a situation? It all began in the mid-20th century when the Sellafield nuclear complex was built on the shores of the Irish Sea in Cumbria, United Kingdom, near the town of Seascale. Originally, it was created for a single purpose: to produce plutonium for nuclear weapons. At the time, the world was in the midst of the Cold War, and every country capable of doing so rushed to build its nuclear arsenal. The UK was no exception, and Sellafield became one of the primary centers for plutonium production. However, nuclear ambitions came with side effects that were not given much thought at the time. Plutonium production generated significant amounts of radioactive waste. Back then, safety standards were far from what they are today. The waste produced by the complex was directly discharged into the waters of the Irish Sea. This seemed like a simple and inexpensive way to solve the problem, but in reality, it merely postponed the consequences for the future. One of the primary radioactive elements discharged into the sea was technetium-99, an isotope with a half-life of over 200,000 years. It dissolves easily in water and can travel great distances through ocean currents. Because of this, traces of radioactive substances from Sellafield have been found as far as the North Sea and remote parts of the Atlantic Ocean. What happens to radioactive substances in the marine environment? They accumulate in seabed sediments and marine organisms. Fish, mollusks, and other sea creatures that live on the seabed or filter water can absorb these isotopes into their tissues. As a result, radioactive substances enter the food chain. Crustaceans are eaten by fish, fish are eaten by larger predators, and eventually, they may end up on people's plates. Studies have shown that fish and seafood from the Irish Sea contain higher levels of radioactive isotopes compared to fish from other seas. It may seem that the radiation levels are so low that they are not a problem. But it's not that simple. Radiation exposure, even in small doses, can cause mutations at the cellular level. This can lead to cancer, DNA damage, and reproductive system disorders. The risk increases if a person regularly consumes seafood from this area or spends time near the coastline, where radiation levels are higher than normal. British officials assure the public that the situation is under control and that emissions from Sellafield have significantly decreased. Today, the facility no longer produces plutonium for weapons but focuses on reprocessing spent nuclear fuel from power plants. Discharges into the sea have been greatly reduced, but past emissions have already caused significant damage. Researchers note that radioactive contamination of seabed sediments may persist for thousands of years, even if no new discharges occur. Why is this dangerous? Radioactive sludge at the bottom of the sea can be stirred up by storms or other natural events, leading to renewed water contamination. Additionally, marine organisms living on the seabed are in constant contact with these sediments, meaning the isotopes continue to circulate within aquatic ecosystems. Greenpeace continues to conduct independent research and publish reports on the situation in the Irish Sea. According to their data, the level of radioactive contamination is much higher than official reports from UK government agencies suggest. The British government insists that they adhere to the highest standards of environmental safety, but environmentalists remain skeptical. International organizations and environmental activists have repeatedly called on the British authorities to completely shut down Sellafield or at least create a comprehensive plan to clean up the sea. However, this task is extremely challenging. What can be done about radioactive seabed sediments? It is impossible to remove them from the sea, as any disturbance of the sludge would only increase the concentration of radioactive particles in the water. Is there any hope of saving the Irish Sea? Modern marine cleanup technologies currently do not allow for the complete removal of radioactive contamination. The harm can only be minimized. Some scientists suggest creating a protective barrier between the seabed sediments and the water, but this is expensive and technically complex. Other experts believe that the focus should be on monitoring and minimizing new discharges. The Irish Sea serves as a reminder of how reckless actions can lead to long-term consequences. Global experience with nuclear facilities shows that even after such facilities are decommissioned, the impact of their operations can linger for millennia. While Sellafield no longer produces plutonium for bombs, its radioactive legacy will remain in the history books and the sea's ecosystem for a very long time. The next time you see the calm, clear waves of the Irish Sea, think about the radiation danger hidden beneath the surface. It is invisible to the eye but affects living organisms. This is not just a problem for Ireland and the UK, it is a global challenge, as radioactive contamination of seas has worldwide consequences. Friends, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. Your support helps us improve and create more interesting videos. Thank you for being with us.